Not all DC Comics superheroes play well with others, and that means they don't always see eye to eye with the goody two-shoes on the Justice League. With the amount of fallouts that Batman has had with the Justice League, you kinda knew there was a possibility he might end up on this video, and well, here he is. Batman has an interesting relationship with the League. Like many others on this list, Batman is prone to doing things his way first. He's also ultra aware of threats, and he knows the danger of an out-of-control Justice League. I don't believe he hates his teammates, except for the occasional Green Lantern, but Batman is just someone who isn't quick to trust others, and even then he will still plan against you just in case. That rubs some people the wrong way, especially when Batman is not always a great communicator to begin with. It's kinda funny, for how charming and personable Bruce Wayne can be sometimes, he really is not a people person as Batman, and if others don't see his way of thinking, as the Justice League has not on multiple occasions, Batman has no problem with just walking away. Heroes have a lot of responsibilities. Kings also have a lot of responsibilities. So imagine being both. You need to have priorities, and it can understandably be quite annoying when your teammates don't seem to know which priorities should come first. Aquaman was an original charter member of the Justice League. He's been around since the very beginning. He's also the king of Atlantis, with his top priority being his people. Therefore, when the other League members were prioritizing their own personal problems over League activities, when Aquaman is balancing all of the above and still being a League member, he understandably decided, hey, what the heck? And he disbanded the League to form the Detroit League. That would actually take it all seriously. That ultimately failed, but Aquaman has had many other falling outs with the League for various different reasons, his loyalty to his own people first being one of the biggest ones. Now, I wouldn't say that Booster Gold hates the Justice League necessarily. I would say that there is a little bit of resentment there though. Booster Gold is a football star from the future, and he became a hero by stealing other heroes' stuff from a museum and going back in time. With that kind of origin story, he isn't really greatly respected by the other heroes, and oftentimes isn't taken very seriously by them either. It was actually a plot point in the Countdown to Infinite Crisis where he and Ted Kord, Blue Beetle, felt they weren't taken seriously enough by the Justice League. But the thing is that even though, yes, Booster Gold didn't really start off on the best foot, he has since had to deal with some pretty serious threats to the world, those dear to him, and to the whole entire time stream. He's purposely had to sacrifice people and his own morality and pride for the continuation of reality, and while he may be respected for that by some, it wasn't always a lot of Justice League members. John Constantine is a bit of a black sheep. Okay, he's a lot of a black sheep. Constantine is very much punk, non-conforming, he breaks the rules. That kind of thing doesn't really fly in the Justice League, or most teams for that matter. So, while Constantine has teamed up with others before and has been on the Justice League Dark, the fact that rules can attempt to stop him from doing what is needed to actually save the day is not really something he respects. Similar to Booster Gold, Constantine has had to make the absolute hardest choices possible for the ultimate good, but unlike Booster, John doesn't really crave acceptance from those who oppose his morals. Even on the Justice League Dark, John betrayed the team to do what some would argue was the right thing. He is understandably jaded, and others kind of have to put up with him because he's just that good. Now, I don't know if Lobo really hates the Justice League, but let's be honest, Lobo doesn't really belong on a team at all. I mean, for starters, the guy is powerful enough to do what he needs to do all by his lonesome, but that's kind of the point. He can already do a lot by himself, and that's kind of how he likes it. Lobo is absolutely an anti-hero, if anything, and he's an incredibly reckless one as he can survive pretty much anything. He's too unpredictable to make for a good teammate, and when he's on a team, he's just causing endless arguments with his teammates. Though he gets a lot of respect from other heroes, notably Batman, who also still thinks of him as too unpredictable, it doesn't mean any of them like working with him, and he doesn't really love working with them either. Gardner, being a Green Lantern, is quite a powerful hero, but he can sure be a bit of a hot-headed jerk sometimes. It feels like Guy thinks that Guy is best, and with a name like Guy, that was never gonna be the reality. Guy is an alum of the Justice League International and is infamously its most hated member. Guy once tried to insist that between himself and Batman, he should be the one leading that team. But he did it in the most bratty, annoying way possible. So much so that it led to Batman knocking him out cold and the rest of the team just carrying on without him. I think ever since then, Guy pretty much hated everything. While you can't deny his usefulness from time to time, Guy is just kind of a jerk. He mocks his teammates and is pretty reckless, leading the League to go to other Green Lanterns before him if they can, and leaving Guy to have a much better time just being a Green Lantern away from the Justice Leagues of all kinds. Now, if we included Batman on this list, why not one of his proteges? Jason Todd has a dark past, being the most disliked Robin before being snuffed out and then revived with a vengeance, going on a killing spree, and then becoming an incredibly troubled anti-hero. He's had a long path to redemption, and while he has toned down quite a bit, traditional morally golden Justice League teams are still something that just ain't gonna gel. As a bit of an outsider himself, Red Hood works best on a team like the Outsiders, who he has led. The League of Assassins, All Cast, and the Bat Family, these kind of teams are more Red Hood's people, and even then, his violence-first mentality and recklessness still gets him in trouble with his peers. The Justice League are just not willing to get their hands dirty, and he can't agree with that approach. Christopher Smith, who is better known as Peacemaker, thinks that the Justice League get just way too much credit. Based on his experience and the situations he finds himself in, the Justice League are a bunch of powerful dudes who show up too late. This is evident especially in the Peacemaker show. He believes the League show up after all the heavy work is already done. In the comics, he's recently been charged by Amanda Waller with taking out metahumans, and he had no qualms about doing it, as he has no qualms about taking any life in the name of peace. But of all the heroes he encountered, Roy Harper Arsenal was like the only League member he seemed to actually respect, and that was just for his skill. One of the weirdest things to ever happen was when Lex Luther joined the Justice League and actually became a hero. After the events of Forever Evil, when the Crime Syndicate of America, an evil version of the Justice League from Earth 3, invaded the main continuity Earth and took out the Justice League, and Lex Luthor rallied a group to save the day, he then went on to join the Justice League, and the League let this happen just to keep their eyes on him. Lex obviously is the nemesis of Superman and has often been the enemy of the whole League, and hates Supes and almost anyone who holds what he believes is his place as the most powerful person on Earth. But he is incredibly intelligent, and he knows how to use anyone to achieve his goals, which surprisingly are sometimes darkly for the greater good and to achieve a more prosperous humankind, as long as he stays on top. And lastly today, for the longest time, including Black Adam on a list of superheroes was a no-no, because he isn't what a lot of people would define as a superhero. But over time he has dabbled in being heroic. It's just for Black Adam, he just has a different, some could say older idea of what justice means. And it's not whatever the Justice League dishes out. Again, much like a lot of other characters in this video, Black Adam has his own way of doing things, and being as powerful as he is, there are very few who can stop him or stand in his way, and the Justice League have tried to be the ones to do so on way too many occasions. Specifically, whenever he tried to enforce his brand of justice outside of his own country of Kahndaq. That's the other thing. Like Aquaman, Black Adam is a leader, and he's also surprisingly a family man, and he prioritizes his country and his family and his ideals over almost anyone else. Thank you guys so much for watching today on Top 10 Nerd. Be sure to tell us what you think in the comments down below. I'll catch you guys on the flippy flops, and peace out, nerds.